Yes, I feel Shadow. This swear that the evidence I shall give before this committee on matters under its consideration shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Naitwa Abu Mohamed, special guest, ni member wa
member of this committee.
I'm Honorable Justice Kaibu, member of this committee.
Honorable Vice Chair.
Honorable Jambo of the Lord, member of this committee.
Kwa majina anaitwa Joseph Munyoki, ni mwanakamati.
Kwa majina Emmanuel Karesa Baya, nawakilisha wadi ya Marafa, nikiwa ni memba katika kamati.
Na mimi naitwa Juma Chengo, kwa nawakilisha Mnarango, na mimi ni mwanakamati. welcome to the committee on land, physical planning and urban development. On the team, always in the municipal assembly standing order, whose mandate, among others, is to approve the new except those under standing order 184, that is committee on appointment, appointed by the governor for the position of county people that in charge of county and urban development. We engage you to determine the eligibility or otherwise the holding will also speak to us in method pending the appointment or otherwise. Now you can tell us the journey of the life.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And, like I already introduced myself, my name is Philip Kitao Charo. Born in a place called Sabati. Went to primary school in Sabati Primary. Thereafter, then I went to Moi High School, Kabarak in Nakuru, where I did my Form 1 to Form 4. I was in the last lot of the A level, so after that, then I went back to Moi High School, Kabarak, from 5 and 6. After that, I went to Kenyatta University, where I did Bachelor of Education, majoring in business studies and economics. And much as I did education, then I did not go to teaching. Immediately thereafter, I went into banking. And that is where I spent the rest of my career until 2016, having risen from the clerical position to a senior position of being head of, country head of all branches within a bank called NIC Bank. Although I started my career from Trust Bank, then I moved to NIC Bank where I did my career for that long until 2016 when I started getting a calling to serve the people of Malindi in other political capacity, which then did not materialize. And immediately thereafter, I went then to the Ministry of Transport, Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development as a special advisor to the Cabinet Secretary, then James Macharia. So I worked with him until 2017 when I came back again, tried my hand in politics. And it didn't work then. I stayed at home a bit, and in 2021, again, there was a presidential appointment as the chairman of Coast Development Authority, where I have been serving. And the urge to serve Kilifi County is still there. And that's why I placed my application to this county. And by God's grace, again, went for the interview. Now I'm here.
Philip Charo, I go through your CV here. There is a statement of Nepal, and you stated party mayor. Now, if you can break to us, this time, you can make an application as
Well, that was two houses, moderate houses. One shamba, yes, amounting to say about 12, 13 million, something like that. There's a shamba somewhere worth slightly about 8 or so million.
Shamba, how many acres?
It's 2 acres. Yeah. 2 acres, yes. And 2 old vehicles, possibly worth about 1-2 million. And a few goats and sheep and cows, then that totals to approximately 30 million.
I have a question here. In accordance to section 1 of the Public Financial Management Act, page 10, it explains to the committee the sources of funds for an urban area of city.
Sources of funds for urban area or city, one is in terms of cess that is collected within the city. There are also the charges that we levy currently on motor vehicles, and particularly not motor vehicles, but the motorbikes that we actually have. And in some urban areas where possibly we are running maybe housing, that is also another source of income to the urban center or urban areas. No, maybe exhausting them might require quite a time, but I don't. Those are some of the areas that we actually collect. But otherwise, in the areas like in Malinda, again, we have other recreational areas where we still get collections. The role, first and foremost, would be actually to run the day activities within the department, particularly in terms of administration and coordination of the entire team within the department. Again, it's to make sure that the implementation of the policies that are in place is well done in accordance again with the day-to-day approval or the regularly approved policies that are actually in place. And also take charge of the budgetary process within the department, as well as supervising the rest of the staff, including but not limited to the issue of performance contracts, so that at least we ensure that you are on top of the performance of the department.
Now, I will allow my fellow members also to ask you questions. Honorable, no.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Philip Carroll, I have only one question for you. In allocating funds to the urban or cities, the county government shall use objective criteria reflecting the service demands and responsibilities. Pursuant to Section 175, Cap 2 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, explain to the committee the objective criteria to be used so that money can be allocated to urban cities.
Thank you. Very good question, Mheshimiwa. First criteria is we look at the demand within that particular urban area. Like if it's an area that we are actually developing, we will need to allocate. One is for infrastructure. We're looking at housing if we need to upgrade that particular urban area. And again, the population, because there are some places which are more densely populated, and we definitely need more allocation in terms of getting services closer to the people.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Through the chair, Mr. Philip, you've said you were born and raised in Kilifi County, and for the last 10 or 15 years or so, since the devolution, you see, the Kilifi County has been budgeting for housing in Kilifi and Malindi, Mariakani, but you find out through this time until now, or till date, this has been very dormant. And actually, there is things that need to be done. Maybe when we approve you in this, do you have any mitigation to make sure that this is revived and it intends to benefit the community or the people living in these areas?
Thank you, Mheshimiwa, for that question. I think one is that budgeting for housing as a county is an absolute task, which again, at the county level, I'm not so sure from where I sit that we can actually have enough budget to improve housing. The worldwide, where the world is heading to currently is you will find where actual housing has been actualized and materialized is actually where you start engaging like joint ventures, so that now you can actually have investors coming in, partnering with the county. Because budgeting from the county mostly will depend then on exchequer. I can assure you, exchequer by itself, we will keep budgeting here for the next many other years. We're talking about 15, maybe we'll triple that again without much success. But the direction worldwide currently is either we go for joint ventures, we go for PPP, so that now these things can actually be moved much faster. And that is where the world is still going. That is where this country is also heading to. So I think as a county, then we better start thinking going along that line. And that's really my thought process. That is the only way we can fast track the issue of housing.
Asante Bwana Chair. Bwana Philip, ningetaka kuuliza, je, ni vipi utaweza kutatua mizozo kuhusu umiliki asili wa ardhi baina ya wakazi wa Kilifi? Unaona uskota ni donda sugu hapa Kilifi. Je, kama wewe ukipata hii nafasi, ni vipi utaweza kutatua mizozo kama hii?
Asante mheshimiwa. Ni donda sugu kweli, na ni donda nyeti, sio sugu pekee yake, ni nyeti. Kwa sababu hapa kuna wamiliki ambao wana vyeti, na hapa kuna wakazi ambao wameishi pale. Mambo mawili ambayo hutendeka kwa sasa. Jambo la kwanza ni kwamba kama kaunti tukishirikiana na serikali kuu pamoja na mwenzangu ambaye yuko katika lami, la kwanza ni kujaribu kujua kwamba watu wameishi pale kwa muda gani, na ni vipi tunaweza kuwaleta pamoja mwenye kumiliki cheti na wakazi wa pale. Kwanza, sehemu ya kwanza ni aidha kuna makubaliano ya watu kununua. Sehemu ya pili ni kwamba kaunti pengine kupitia kwa serikali kuu pia tuombe ununuzi, kwa sababu ishafanyika mahali kwingine, ili inunuliwe, watu wagawanyiwe, kwa sababu tumeona hii pia ime restrict mambo ya kuendeleza haya maeneo, kwa sababu ikiwa mtu yuko pale hana cheti, ana nyumba yake, mara tunataka kujenga ghorofa, hajui mwenyewe atakuja kusema nini. So hayo ndio mambo ambayo ni lazima tujaribu kushirikiana, tuangalie. Of course itafika wakati kama idara tutakuja kwenu tena kuja kuomba budget ya kwamba pengine tunataka kununua mashamba fulani. Maana mashamba mengi yale unayoongea ni kwamba wenyewe hata hawako, ama wapo lakini hawayatumii yale mashamba, wanaoyatumia ni mengine. Kwa hivyo mpaka tuje na mfumo ambao tutaweza pengine kuyanunua, tuwagawanyie watu wayamiliki, ndio waweze kuyaendeleza vizuri zaidi. Tuna opportunity nzuri sana ya kupanua miji yetu, lakini hili ndio ambalo limekuwa likichangia sana katika kusitisha yale malengo ambayo tuko nayo. Kwa hivyo nafikiri la kwanza kuna negotiation hiyo ya kwamba tununue, na usivyo kuna mahali pengine ambapo unapata hata wakati mwingine ni government plan, lakini hakuna mtu ambaye amefanya search kujua ni government plan, ambapo itakuwa hiyo ni ile tunaita low hanging fruit, kwamba mara moja tutaandikia serikali ili kwamba watu wanagawanyiwa. Ndio mtu akiwa anafamiliki vizuri na ana karatasi, anaweza pia kuendeleza katika hali ya anaweza pia kuwa na nafasi nzuri ya kujiendeleza zaidi. Kwa hivyo hayo ndio mawazo ambayo niko nayo kushirikiana na serikali.
I have to question for you. Can you tell this committee that your seizure for a town to be conferred to a municipality? And then the second question, what are the challenges hindering towns like Marekani and Trump from being elevated?
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa, for that question. One is in consideration to create a municipality. There is the population aspect of it, because again, for any town to be upgraded to a municipality, currently I think from the 2019 definition, you need to have close to 250,000 people in that area from the previous census. So basically, we are saying one is they need to fall within that. So I know it's easy for us maybe to feel good that we will actually want to have a municipality, but do they meet that criteria? Two, do they have the potential now to collect enough revenues to sustain that municipality? Because then if they don't have, then we'll be creating a municipality on paper, but in reality, it does not have legs to start with. So I think those are the things that we actually need to work on. But I think we could be looking at a place like, say, Mtwapa, which is now densely populated. The only thing that we actually need to consider then is what revenue streams do we have from Mtwapa that can now actually sustain it as a municipality. And if already the population qualifies, and we also have the infrastructure and the income inflows, then automatically we can actually consider that. But I know that for a start, there are budget constraints as well. Because again, it's a place where you will need to have officers, a place where you will need to hire people, a municipal manager to take care of the municipal and possibly a board to run it. So there are those financial limitations. But I do believe that those are things that the executive, together with our legislative arm, yourself, Waheshimiwa, with your support, I know we can actually have more municipalities within this country.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we happen to have a nominee who is a politician. My first question is, this position, is it by merit or the political award, if you happen to be the CEO of the town? Another question, we are informed and you fill this form, the County Assembly of Kilifi, we are informed that you are the chairman of Coast Development Authority. How did Kilifi benefit from the Coast Development Authority?
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. On your first question, my being here today is by merit, not on any political inclination. And I think that is, when I did the application, I did it with the Public Service Board, not to any particular politician. And so I believe that they did their work well. And so when I'm here as Philip Charo, in fact, I'm not here as a politician. I'm actually here now as a potential chief officer for this great county. Two is indeed, yes, Coast Development Authority. I'm the chairman. And I want to tell Waheshimiwa, honorable members, that there's a lot that Coast Development Authority has been doing. One, if you go to Chakama today, there is very serious irrigation that is actually taking place there. And as late as this year, I think we actually made an extension of the pipes because we felt now there were more people who wanted to take advantage of that. And so, but then they could actually not be reached by the existing pipes. So we've actually gone ahead we already advertised and got a contractor who is now extending the pipes to reach out to many more farmers. But besides that, there are programs that are actually supposed to kick off any time from now. In fact, there were just delays because of the political situation. We should have kicked off from May, but there was that delay. Right now, we're just waiting for the swearing in of the PSs, which I'm glad is happening today, so that then we can actually roll out. Malindi, we have, at the Malindi General Hospital, there is an approval and whose funds is actually readily earmarked to do an ICU, which for long Malindi has not had an ICU. And the initial plan was maybe for CDA to build, then for county to equip. But then when we looked at that, again I said this might not serve the people well. So why don't we build, even if it's a 10 capacity facility, and then equip, even if it's about 4 or 5, so that we are handing over an operational unit. So this is actually supposed to take to actually come up immediately after the swearing in of the PSs, which is being done today. We are expecting anytime from next week we'll follow up this. Those from Magarini, I think, has been the biggest beneficiary. We are we have the road from Janaheri to Gomeni, about 10.5 kilometers, which is also ready for rollout. The funds are there. We are also just waiting for this dust to settle. Then we actually pick that one up. Gomeni Secondary School, we already sponsoring 20 bright, needy students from Form 1 to Form 4. So as an organization, that's what we are doing. For those again from Magarini, I think Sabaki, we have had that river there where we always, from Sabaki to Buradi, which has always been problematic with the canoes. People have actually died there, lost life. And I'm glad to say that we are now putting up a footbridge so that at least not vehicles, but at least bajajes and tuk-tuks will be able to cross over to the other side. So that people from Buradi can have their product crossing over to this side without that risk of feeling maybe you could drown yourself in that river. So that's what we are doing, but I know much more can come, only that this year now, I think with the tightening of budgets from the government, possibly we might have some delays. But these ones, the projects I'm already talking about, these are foreign funded, and so the funds are there, they can never be diverted. But we are also looking at expanding and trying to get much more funding from foreign-based organizations and countries, so that we can actually actualize what we think we need to do for our community.
Now, if approved at the chief of staff, will you operate the two positions?
No, I think I need to serve Kilifi people much more closely. Yes, if it had to get to there.
Mr. Philip, I have 3 questions. One is, you as a policeman, what can you tell the community with regard to county housing units?
Existing?
Maybe there shall be more to come.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. I know this country has had some houses before, since the days when it was Malindi municipality, before before devolution. But again, I'm aware, when you follow up, that those were good source of income in the municipality and subsequently to the county. But at some point, because these houses were built by National Housing Corporation, I think the county was not remitting the payments in National Housing. Indeed, at some point, I think National Housing then came in to take up collection of rent by themselves, which to me, I think was very unnecessary if it was well managed. What we are looking at, one is we might need to renegotiate with National Housing Corporation to see how we can manage these houses, the already existing houses, better. But then we don't limit ourselves to that. My thought process is even those houses, like those Ngala houses which have been there all along, to me it's time now we start thinking of upgrading them, so that now we can actually have a better urban center, we can actually have a better Malindi, and again accommodate more people. But those houses that we had, 2-3 bedroom houses, we have an opportunity to actually put up serious 2-3 story buildings within those areas. But again, it comes to us, like you say, if we go the joint venture way and we get serious investors who we think we can partner with, then we actually make this improvement. And I know it is doable. Now, I'm not only looking at that, but we also have the KC which we can again, which targets already some slummy areas which we can actually try to put in a lot of effort to try and upgrade. We have a lot of potential here. Just looking at Malindi by itself, you have Muyeye, we have Kisumulogo. These are places which I know we can actually come up with good plans. Even Rabai, I'm sure there is a lot of government land which we can actually take and upgrade. So I do believe that that potential is there. With good planning and good cooperation from all of us, we are set to go.
Thank you. Another question, expectation on revenue collection.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Revenue collection is been one touchy area all along, because I think, I will not say it's because there is no collection, but I think the leakages are also so many. So that as much as we collect, the leakages are so many. So I think, to me, one is to have very clear procedure of how these things should be done end to end, so that we actually, as much as possible, lock the leakages. And I'm sure once we lock the leakages, so soon we will actually realize that within the sense that we have today, we are collecting much more than we have ever collected before. And I know it is something that we can do, because it's just simply tightening the loose ends. And I don't believe that Kilifi does not have enough revenue streams to get us running, but just because of those loose ends that are actually proving to be a thorn in the flesh.
The third one is, do you know that the people residing in these units, that is the houses that are under county government, most of them are not county staffs, and on this, what is your take?
Thank you. One is, maybe we need to look at the history of when they were built. Were they meant for county staff? Were they meant for Kilifi people? Were they meant for... But again, to me, like I said, my vision is not only just about where they are today, but I'm looking at improving so that we can have more people accommodated. And not only accommodated, but possibly creating an avenue of people also owning those houses. So I think what I'm looking at today is not necessarily just at that level of county staff occupying them, but possibly county staff owning their own apartments and flats in future. Because if somebody stays there, there could be some leasing, purchasing agreement, or there could be mortgages. Once we actually put up this thing, I'm sure the facilities we'll all be happy if all our waheshimiwas at the end of the day will also own those places there, because they are part and parcel of our great community.
Kupitia kwako mwenyekiti, Bwana Philip, kwa uchache kabisa tumeelezea majukumu ya serikali ya kaunti, majukumu ya bunge la kaunti.
Bunge la kaunti, jukumu la kwanza ni kama hili tunalotekeleza leo, tunalotekeleza kuveti watu ambao wanafaa kuingia katika maofisi fulani. Kwa hivyo naamini kwa sasa hivi mna katika jukumu lenu la kwanza, ambalo kwangu mimi ni kuu, kwa sababu ndio litakaloeleweka kitini. La pili ni kwamba mna wajibu wa kutengeneza sheria ambazo zitasaidia kupeleka hii Kilifi mbele, ambazo pia zitakuwa zinawiana na zile sheria za kitaifa, kwa sababu sheria zetu za Kilifi pengine tutakuwa na bylaws, lakini ambazo lazima ziwe pia zinafuatana na zinawiana na zile za kitaifa. Na pia ninajua kuna policies ambazo zinatengenezwa kwenye departments na kwenye wizara, ambazo mwishowe ni lazima zije kwenu, kwa sababu nyinyi ndio ambao mnawakilisha wananchi wa Kilifi. Kwa hivyo hakuna policy ambayo inaweza kuanza kutekelezwa bila kuja kwenu. Na hata budget zile tunazoziongelea zikipita kule, zikitengenezwa, mwishowe lazima zipite hapa kwenu, ili kwamba sasa ziweze kuwa zinaweza kutekelezwa. So Ni baadhi tu ya yale majukumu na ambayo ninayafahamu kwamba bunge hili linafanya.
Good afternoon, Mr. Philip. What are the functions of the county secretary?
County secretary, administratively, mheshimiwa, ni kwamba kwanza yeye anasimamia county kwa sababu kuna mkono huo wa siasa na mkono ule wa administrative one. So administratively then he is actually in charge of the county, being actually also the secretary to the public service board. So all the employment will pass through him, all the disciplinary actions will actually pass through him. So basically his core duty will be to bring together or to oversee all the other employees and all the other functions, to provide also the functional environment to all the departments to make sure that they actually have what it takes in terms of recruitment, in terms of maintenance, in terms of firing where need be.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sama. Kilifi County has been encroachment of public property due to the fact that the county has not been some mapping and fencing of this area. But how do you intend to address this?
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Like I said, I think one first thing is to identify all the land that belongs to the county or even the government. And this is not only limited to only the county government or the national government land, but even to private property. If it's not well secured, then it becomes an easy prey for anybody else who actually wants to come and exploit. And we must safeguard ourselves. So I think the first thing is to identify all the land, and we will make sure we move with speed fast to secure the plan for any future development that we actually have. Because the challenge has been that most of the time we miss out on development just because we are not able to identify land. But I want to believe strongly that together again with my counterparts in the land docket, we should be able actually to come up and advise and possibly secure approval so that we can secure very fast all the land that we think belongs to this county or to this government, so that then we can actually start thinking of what to do with that land. Thank you. I think mine is to thank you first for giving me the opportunity. It was at your own discretion that you actually say, let's see this person, because I know if you are saying no, then I will not be here. But otherwise, I want to thank you, and again thank you for this cordial discussion that we've actually had. And pray that God willing, and with your approval, we should be able to work much more closely together for the better and benefit of this, our great county of Kilifi.
I will also take this chance on behalf of my fellow members of the country to join down here. What is remaining is need to wait, going to prepare a report, and maybe we get to
Then I can take the opportunity to wish you a nice weekend for our brothers, Juma Karim.
Thank you.
You also